Georgia Tech has an interesting history. It was founded almost 125 years ago, 124 years ago, and was founded on the basis of redevelopment of the South after the Civil War and the need for reconstruction in the South and the need for engineers to be part of that. And so Georgia Tech opened 124 years ago with the class of 84 mechanical engineers, people who were going to build the mills that were going to create economic development in the South. I raise that because today we're going to be talking about a new form of reconstruction. Obviously, not after the Civil War, but looking at urban reconstruction in the light of our current economic crisis. Some things you may not know about Georgia Tech. Yes, we all know we lost the Orange Bowl. Still struggling with that. But Georgia Tech is ranked number 6 in the United States for public universities. It's routinely ranked in the top 10. It has certain distinctions that, unless you're an engineering educator, you probably wouldn't know. It's the only university in the United States where all of its engineering programs are ranked in the top 10, and we are a comprehensive engineering university. We have, this year, the incoming freshman class has the highest SAT on average of any public university in the United States. We're the largest engineering school in the country based on number of faculty, students, graduates. That's true at the bachelor's and the PhD level. And we lead the country in the largest amount of research of any engineering program in the country. So it's a very large engineering program. It's very highly regarded. It has a really, really outstanding student body. We needed 14 more points to win the Orange Bowl, I guess it was. So not everything's perfect, but it is a wonderful place, and its history is predicated on economic development. And so I think it's very fitting that we're having the conference here today, and I think it's important. I'm very glad that Georgia Tech has a role in this project. So where you are is sort of on the edge of campus. The main campus is across the interstate. We have 3 other campuses to point to. One is in Savannah, Georgia, which is focused, at least in many ways, on coastal engineering. We have a campus in Metz, France, which is used primarily for undergraduate education and international experiences. And then we have a campus at Shanghai Jiaotong in Shanghai, China. So this is sort of the mothership here. This is where most of our students are located. We have 18,000 students overall. About 12,000 are undergraduates. The rest are graduate students. 70% of those students will major in some engineering field. So it is a very large engineering program. Where you are right now is very close to our College of Management. We have a very good College of Management here, which probably makes up the second largest contingent of our students. So that gives you a little bit about where you are, about the university, about what we were founded to do, and why we think it's important that we're here today. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Kevin Caravati. Kevin's going to shepherd us through today and make sure that we stay on schedule. Kev?
Okay. Thank you. I'll just hold this for a second here. Just a couple things real quick. Restrooms are, I believe, right across the hall, and coffee, food, breakfast, everything is down on the left. We're going to wrap up today about 4 o'clock. This morning is going to be some presentations just to bring everybody up to speed as to where we are, what we've learned over the past few months here, and what our stakeholders and our partners have learned. And in the afternoon, we're going to go through much more city-focused for the individual cities. We've got from about 2 o'clock till 3:30. We'll have the tables over here set up so you can work with different groups. It'll be our graphics team. The Graphics Communications Corporation is here today. They're the one who produced the posters and the report that we started off with. Joe Goodman and Matt will be set up to answer any questions regarding the data. We've got data zip drives to give to every city that's here with all that information. Redfields to Greenfields will be represented here. Mike and his family, the Messners, are here, and Catherine Nagel and her team are here as well. So for the afternoon, we want open forum for the cities to interact with whoever you need to get through this. Okay, so we can get towards producing the reports. If you would, just go around the room real quick. We've got some new folks here that weren't here last night. So just stand up, just say your name and affiliation. We'll get through that real quick, and then I'm going to turn it over to Catherine. Okay?
Catherine Nagel, I'm the Executive Director of the City Parks Alliance, and I'm from Washington, D.C.
Kevin Carvati, Georgia Tech Research Institute.
Steve McKay, the Director of the Center for Community Research and Service at the University of Delaware, and a faculty member of our School of Urban Affairs and Public Policy.
Renee Martin, and I'm with the Philadelphia City Planning Commission.
Todd Bailson with the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society from Philadelphia.
Dennis Martin from leading project development with the Philadelphia.
Mike Messner from Seminole Capital in Speedwell.
Jenny Messner from Speedwell Foundation.
Rebecca Messner, producing a documentary on Frederick Law Homestead.
Phyllis Jordan. Phyllis Jordan, I'm with the Hatcher Group, which is a public relations firm working with this effort.
Joe Goodman, Georgia Tech Research Institute.
Paul Shivert with Seminole Capital.
Kate Stribblehoff, Graduate Research Assistant with the GTLI.
Jimmy Dills from Centers for Disease Control.
Matt Wren with Georgia Tech Research Institute.
Hi, I'm Lori Somerville with Georgia Tech.
Trey Ward with Pennsylvania Horticultural Society.
Michael Mayer from Urban Studies at the University of Pennsylvania.
Harris Steinberg and Praxis, School of Design, University of Pennsylvania, and member of the faculty of City Regional Planning.
Jeff Lowell, I'm Director of the Real Estate Development and Urbanism Program at the University of Miami School of Architecture.
John Bowers, Miami-Dade Park and Recreation.
Howard Drake, Deputy Director of Park and Recreation, Miami-Dade.
Maria Nardi in charge of Planning and Research Division with Miami-Dade County Parks.
Dave Kieckenmeister, Senior Project Manager with the Georgia Office of the Trust for Public Land and Director of our Georgia Green Program.
Christian Willauer, West End Neighbor House.
Good morning, Paul Calistro, Executive Director, West End Neighborhood House.
Stephanie Griffney, Director of Sustainable Development at Louise Business School at University of Colorado.
Scott Robson, Deputy Director, City of Denver Parks and Recreation.
Tim Wokenot, I'm the Colorado State Director for the Trust for Public Land Office in Colorado.
A.T. Harmon with Urban Market Partners, site developer in Denver, Colorado.
Morning, Rich Ainsworth from the Norris Foundation.
June Riley, Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, and member of the City Parks Alliance Board.
Debbie McCown, former CEO of Piedmont Park Conservancy here in Atlanta, now principal of McCown Bradley Group, and board member of City Parks Alliance.
Terry Schwartz from the Cleveland Urban Design Faculty at Penn State.
Ann Zahn with Parkworks in Cleveland.
Laura Math with Fairworks.
Carter Smith with Graphic Communications Corporation.
Joe Hughes, Georgia Tech.
Well, again, on behalf of the City Parks, oh, you need the mic, okay. On behalf of the City Parks Alliance, I want to welcome all of you to this and thank you for your participation. For those of you who weren't with us last night, we had a terrific dinner, and we thank the Speedwell Foundation again and Paul Shiverick and the Georgia Tech for hosting the dinner. I wanted to give you a little bit of background about the City Parks Alliance. We are a national network of urban park and recreation leaders. Our members include public park and recreation agencies, their nonprofit park partners, foundations, and other park supporters. And we are working to increase investment in our nation's urban parks and to have urban parks recognized as a critical part of our nation's urban infrastructure. We do this work through two key program areas. One is community capacity building. We realize that this work doesn't happen unless you have the right social infrastructure in place, and so we work to help our partners around the country through advocacy workshops and through information sharing network where members share best practices and lessons learned with each other. The second area of our programming focuses on advocacy, and City Parks Alliance is just really getting going in Washington with advocacy in general for urban parks and advocacy around the Red Fields to Green Fields project. One of the things I wanted to ask all of you to keep in mind and to talk with me about is to share with us who you know. we want to build a network. We need to build champions around this project. And so we want to know, who your congressional members are, where do you have strong relationships, and how can we partner with you to reach out to those congressional members. I also wanted to ask you to keep in mind how we can disseminate the results of this project through your local communities. So if there are conferences that are coming up or other opportunities that you foresee, please let me know. I'll be working to organize a series of presentations at major planning departments around the country in the coming year, but would love to know if there are other opportunities where we could take the local project and present to your local leaders, because again, we need to build this broad base of support to move the idea forward. I also would love to know if there are other institutional partners that we can engage in this effort. The Urban Land Institute has shown great interest, and in fact there will be an article in Urban Land magazine in the January-February issue about the project. The Trust for Public Land, of course, is involved in some of these cities. The Rails to Trails Conservancy, which is where our office actually is housed, is very interested in how we can partner with them. But I'm sure there are other groups that are non-traditional. We're looking, banking groups, local community groups, housing groups. I'd love to know about those groups and how we can interface with them to, again, build a really strong base of champions. We have with us this morning Phyllis Jordan, who's with the Hatcher Group, and Phyllis is going to talk briefly about the PR effort.
Hello. Our firm is based in Washington, D.C., and we work, actually we're Bethesda, Maryland, but we work exclusively with nonprofits and foundations, and we're really honored to be working on this project. This is such a smart project for the economy, for the environment, for rebuilding cities. What we have sort of two goals right now, three goals, if you will. Our major goal is to have a consistent message. People who love parks know about the environmental value, the recreational value, the social value of a park in a city. There are people, however, who think parks are frivolous. If you look at the stimulus bill, they cut out something like 168 projects. 128 of those were parks projects. So there is a job that needs to be done convincing policymakers and politicians that spending money on a park is not frivolous. And so when I've written and worked with a lot of you all on op-ed pieces, we're trying to stress the economic benefits of parks, the value that they have in this circumstance of rescuing banks. And so as you go out in your community and you talk about parks, of course talk about the environmental and the recreation and the social value, but remember to stress the economic value too. As this project moves forward, we're planning a major national rollout. Right now our plan is April 20th. That's when the City Parks Alliance has a meeting in Washington. We're planning an event at the National Press Club. We're hoping to have sort of aggregated information from all the cities of how much parkland this could create, how many projects this could produce, acres of parkland. We're also hoping to have some national champions. We're hoping to have information on individual cities and representatives from the cities, and we'll be in touch with you all about that. We're also planning a website, and we'll hope to have information on each city on the website. And Mike was just telling me that Joe was talking about some sort of animation about how a piece of land would change from its current state to a beautiful park. So we're going to be exploring all those options too. So if you have any questions, I've got cards and I can talk to any of you, but if you have any questions about how to approach your local media, how to deal with any press calls or anything that involves public relations, please let me know.